Jen with Ramshackle Homestead with Keith and Jen, and we're going to talk about sun-drying cherry tomatoes today. It's already the beginning of September, so our cherry tomato plants are just covered up. We're trying to think of things to do with them, and sun-drying is a good option because we don't really want to freeze them. We want a little different variety. We made salsa out of the regular tomatoes, and probably going to make some sauce out of the next batch to come due, but the little Cherokee Star tomatoes that we've been growing have turned into a really good when they're sun-dried, and this is kind of what they look like, the star on there. That's the best example that we're looking for in our plant. They're pretty cool, and they're super tasty, a lot of flavor, so we figured sun-drying would be a good way to capture that and be able to store them easily. I just wanted to mention the knife that we're using. It's an Opinel knife. They're pretty handy for all kinds of stuff, and it was funny because Keith had bought one, and I said it looked familiar. My dad had one, and so I went in his little box that I had. It's like a tobacco box, and sure enough, one was in there, and he was like, "Oh, that's so cool." So we've been partial to these and have them all over the place because they are super handy to have, super sharp too. To sun dry them, basic ingredients as far as just clean tomatoes, a knife, and a drying rack. This is just a regular store-bought one, but you can create your own. You just want to, we use this instead of a cookie sheet because the air can get up underneath of it. If we did say like put wax paper on a cookie sheet, you'd have to turn it more often and definitely want to ensure that there's low humidity. Right now it's pretty humid, but it's super hot, and the wind picks up pretty good. So as long as where we put it, and we'll show that later, so the air can get to it and good drying times before it gets, say, like moldy or something. That's one of the dangers. So we're just cutting the tomatoes in half and just putting them cut side down on the tray. You could brush them with a little olive oil first, or dunk them in there with some salt. I wouldn't really recommend doing them cut side up first off. I think it would dry out too fast, so that's why we're putting them cut side down. But if you do it in the oven, cut side up is fine. Whoop. A little squirty there. So we don't put anything as far as like salt, or you could put Italian spices on them, but they have so much flavor by themselves. We really just haven't had a need to do that or really desire. So once you get your tray full up, you definitely want some space in between them so the air will be able to circulate good. And then we'll show you where the best place for us to do it here, so maybe you can have something similar, but have a lot of light and away from the chickens primarily. So we're in our barn, and this is the best place that we found to do this. We have a little lean-to off the barn that gets sun all day long. And if you didn't want to mess with, sunshine and bugs and all that stuff, you can also use a dehydrator, and it just takes about 8 hours. We do cut side down, but you could do it either way. And you'll both have delicious tomatoes. I guess they're Tomins, tomato raisins. That's a thing. I think it is. Alrighty. So 3 to 5 days later, depending upon the temperature and the humidity levels, but this is what they should look like when they're done. A little bit pliable, but not any moisture in them is the goal. So you could freeze these, of course, but we like to can things instead. For this purpose, we're going to use olive oil for the liquid, and it'll keep, after we fill the jar with, and we've got some, we also dried some peppers too, so I put some in there, just a little bit different flavor. Just slide them in there. I'd probably say within like an inch or a half inch of the top, because you want the liquid to totally cover it. Puppy is pulling on my dress. Puppy, what are you doing? Come here, you. Come here, you. Look at this. Serious stuff. No. Okay, it's about like that. And then we just take our, whoop. Puppy, you're making me mess up. I just pour it over it. Which if we were really fancy, we say, we made this olive oil. I don't think we could say that though, for sure. That would be awesome though. So they kind of float, of course, but if you push them down, that it would cover it. Then you just put the lid on it with the, like that, just hand tight. You don't want to go crazy. And then use them in all kinds of stuff. You could eat them plain, or put them in soups or stews. You could rehydrate them, put them in eggs, or not rehydrate them, put them on pizzas. So a lot of different options for them. We love them. They get good vitamins, good reminder of summer when it's freezing out, and I'll crying and eating these. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more to come on our YouTube channel. It's Ramshackle Homestead with Keith and Jen. And also like us on Facebook and Instagram. And is that it? I think so. All right, thank you. We were just kids down by